Alrighty. So I put together a Google slideshow, and I put a whole bunch of links. We have done year one with Ambleside Online. I did it 2 years ago with my son, and I'm preparing to do it this year with my daughter. After seeing things that worked and didn't work with my son, I've made a couple of changes. Um, but since I wanted to just encourage you, if you are interested in doing a Charlotte Mason grade 1 with your 6-year-old, I wanted to talk about what those subjects are. And this has been really helpful to me if you aren't familiar with the Delectable Education podcasts. The podcasts are all done in different topics. So I also bought their template, their lesson template, and I kind of pieced this together using some of those resources and the idea. When you read the Charlotte Mason volumes, and I'm going to talk about that too in our Zoom meeting, of having a Charlotte Mason reading group, which has been really, really, really a blessing to me in my homeschool. But just reading through her volumes, and you can get a better understanding of how it all works together, because just looking at it the first time is super overwhelming. I just started when my son was 6, and I learned as I went. So my encouragement to everyone is, don't feel like you have to know everything when you start with your 6-year-old. I think you can learn as you go, and it's really a beautiful process. The other thing I always tell my friends is trust the process, because like I said, I've seen the fruit from my son coming through this. He's 9 now, and we started Charlotte Mason when he was 6. We did from his 6 to 7-year-old year, we did a very condensed version of the Ambleside year 1. I think I only did Our Island Story, Just So Stories, and James Herriot's Treasury. And then the rest of it was just going and being involved with some friends and co-ops and field trips. And then when he was 7, we dove into the full year 1 schedule with Ambleside Online. My daughter's 6.5, so she's already, from her December birthday to now, I feel like she's ready to jump in. Some of the ladies in Facebook groups call it whole hog. And I think that she can handle it. So at the end, I might talk a little bit about her personal schedule of what I'm doing, because I am combining a year 1 and a year 3, or a Form 1B and a Form 1A. And I can talk about what I think that will look like. I have not done it yet because we don't start school until August 20th, but I've spent the summer preparing, and I'm really excited. So let me just go through the subjects. I think this is a really good overview for someone who's just starting out. You've just been introduced to Charlotte Mason. One of your friends said, oh yeah, I do Charlotte Mason. You did a personality quiz or something, and it says your style of education is Charlotte Mason. What does it look like? So in this slide that I have on the screen, I've broken it down like they do on a Delectable Education. We have subjects that are going to teach our children the knowledge of God. We have subjects that are going to teach them the knowledge of man, and subjects that are going to teach them the knowledge of the universe. And you can go a lot deeper in your higher grade levels, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to try not to talk about my son who's going into 3rd grade. I just want to talk about those 6-year-olds, 6, 7-year-olds, and gear this toward, just starting out. So here's a broad overview of your subjects. You'll have Bible, history, geography, literature, recitation, your language arts, which is reading, copywork, spelling, narration, your artist study, your picture study, your composer study, your singing, your handicrafts, and then the knowledge of the universe, which is your math, your natural history, which is science, I would categorize that in a broad thing of science. I'm not going to click on all these links because I feel like if I give this to you, you can go and look at it. I do want to show you. Oh, Tara, I see your message. That's good. And I'm recording this, so we can go back and reference it later if you want to. So I put a whole bunch of books in this basket. I don't know if you can see. Got this big basket here with a whole bunch of books. And I just wanted to show a couple of our favorites, if that is helpful to you. And chime in with any questions. If I'm talking, Kayla and Jill, Tara, if you have a question and you want to type it or you want to pop in and ask a question, please do. Because it's more comfortable for me if I'm like talking with people. You guys turned your videos off so I can't look at you. But if you're good with it, if I'm going too fast or if you need clarification or you just want to talk. Yeah, so hi Kayla. It makes me feel more comfortable to look at you.
The kids in the pool and I don't want to be a distraction.
No, that's okay. That's okay. No, I'm just gonna go on, but I don't want to feel like you have to turn your camera off or anything. It's not like
sure.
I don't want to be too formal. Like I want it to be relaxed so we can talk and learn from each other. So anyway, all right, all of these have links. And I don't know if the best way to give you this drive, I know I shared it on my Facebook page, the actual link to this PowerPoint slideshow that has the links that you can follow. If you need it, just message me or PM me and I'll send you the link too. Okay, Bible, I feel like is very easy. The link that I've given you to the Delectable Education, I think is the one that they just did a couple weeks ago, which was an immersion lesson. And she talked about when you have your 6-year-old, there's going to be a lot of topics that are way over their head. And talking with them, reading the scripture, small portions, and letting them tell back is sufficient for your Bible curriculum. She references, Charlotte Mason and the girls at Delectable Education reference some commentaries. Smith, I think is his name, and I went and looked at those. I was going to order them. I'm still kind of debating whether or not to order them because they're not for kids. And that was what I was confused about. I thought, oh, this is a commentary. I can maybe read the scripture and then read this lesson. But that is actually not the case. It's very higher level thinking. You read it, you read the commentary, and then you can talk with them and narrate them back. This is my son. Yes, real quick.
Can you check my room soon?
Yes, I will in just a little bit, okay? I'm talking for about 30 minutes. Do you want to say hi? Yeah. Okay, Eva May wants to say hi. Yeah, so I'm going to work with her on it, okay? Give me 30 minutes. Okay. There's food downstairs. Why don't you guys go have a snack? Go make lunch, okay?
Hi.
All right, so that's Bible, and you can look some more. Eva May, I need you to go downstairs, okay? All right. And then, and hi, I can't remember. I know Yoder, I recognize the last name, but I don't remember your first name.
Ashley?
Ashley, yes. Hi, Ashley.
Sorry.
So the knowledge of man, history, I have struggled with this because when my son did history, we followed the Ambleside online stream of doing Our Island Story, and I really like it, and he liked it too. But my daughter's completely different, and I really feel like my daughter will do better with American history. So again, looking at the Delectable Education site, this was a book that they recommended, The Very First Americans, and I can post the link. You'll see the link on their podcast episode as well. So I got this for my daughter, and we're going to start with Native American, early American history with her. this year. So we're doing D'Aulaire's Pocahontas. We're doing this book, The Very First Americans. We're going to be doing some readings out of the book America First. And we're also going to do the Benjamin Franklin and the George Washington and Abraham Lincoln biographies from D'Aulaire. So I brought some of those. I don't know, are you guys familiar with the D'Aulaire biographies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really like them. My son has really liked them. Where's one? Like here's Abraham Lincoln and Benjamin Franklin. And the Charlotte Mason method of like reading a few pages a week has worked well for us. With the Ambleside online, I did find when my son did year one, it took us a lot longer to get through some of the biographies than what they had scheduled. So I would, if you have time, I would even start them earlier if you wanted to. This book, The Very First Americans, is really short. Right after it, we'll probably go into Pocahontas and just read through that, and that'll give her some good living history literature. Geography, I feel like, is really easy. And maybe it's because I don't know enough about it, but basically all I've done with my kids is we've kind of put geography with that natural history, and when we're outside, we'll talk about north, south, east, west. We'll use a compass. And so far my kids have developed a pretty good understanding of our world. I also read, I don't know if you're familiar with the book Map Making for Children. I think it's by David Sobel. I read that book this past year, and I think he's kind of the father of place-based education. He really put it into a good perspective at the beginning of his book. He said that, hold on, Eva May, okay? Give me 10 minutes. Yes. He said that he was kind of appalled at the public schools that he visited because here were kids in their classrooms making like solar system diagrams. They had no idea even how their place-based education, or where they lived. They even had no idea about like their city, their state, where they were in the world. And so it was almost like starting with that solar system idea is very far removed from a 6-year-old's understanding. You should start right where you are. So I really like that. I recommend looking at that book and reading that book for some geography ideas. All right, and I noticed that it's already like 1:20. So let me just ask you guys, do you have any questions about any of these subjects? Oh, and math. Can I talk about math real quick? Let me just show you what I use, and you can ask me any questions about it too. Myquan, I really, really, really like this. I've gone through 4 of the books. Started with my son, and my daughter she's almost done with the orange book, but I think that when everything I've read about Charlotte Mason, Myquan is really good. And then I've also heard people talk about the Simply Charlotte Mason math resource is also really good. So let me push it out to you guys. What questions do you have?
What was the name of the D'Aulaire? What was the name of the biography series you were talking about?
Yes.
Is that on Ambleside online?
It is, and it also, they have a
okay.
They have, I can close this now and it can just be me. Let me see, what was this? Okay, and talking about narration, we can talk a little bit about that too for these last 10 minutes. And I think that was it. Yes, so I'm going to stop the share. Okay, so now it's just our pictures. Okay. Yeah, so is that what your question was about, the D'Aulaire? And did you say
Yeah,
something
is that
else?
I mean, do you just search that by author, or is there a specific list of books that they have?
They have a lot. They have a lot. And I suggest just getting them all. And I think that's what I was going to say. In the summertime, they have a special where you can order all of their books for a discount. And that's what I did. Is I think I had checked out when my son was 6. I checked out one from the library and I saw how good it was that I said, I'm just going to go ahead and get them all. So their biography series, I think there's 10 books, 10 or so.
Okay. So it's not like several dozen. It's like
it's like 10. Yeah, I think it was $80 for all 10 books.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's about what it was. And then the other books that seem to be on a lot of lists is the C. Holling books.
Okay.
So Paddle to the Sea we did with my son in first grade when he was 7. And then this past year we did Seabird and Tree in the Trail. But that was year 2, so that was after.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Let's see. I feel like I had another one. Oh, regarding the narration.
Yes.
So them narrating back to you.
Yes.
What they heard. Yes. My friend was just telling me about that one. How do you balance that? Like, I know that sometimes with my son, like either his mind is already onto something else, or I feel like if I ask too many questions,
don't ask questions.
Okay.
Don't ask
them. You don't ask any questions. You just
the only question you really need to ask is tell me what you heard.
Okay.
Yeah. And it does take a process. I mean, I was really concerned. I remember when I started it with my son, and I thought, oh, he didn't listen to anything. He can't tell me anything. But that's the process. Like I said, you just trust the process, because as the year went on, there would be days that I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. He did it. And when you think about when you were 6, how much do you remember?
Right.
And if they don't remember everything, that's okay. But you're establishing, like Jill was saying, she's working on habits. You're establishing habits at this early stage. And if they can't tell you back, the first week of school, the first month of school, don't sweat it. If you feel like you need to model that, I feel like that's a conflicting thing within some Charlotte Mason communities. Some people are like, don't narrate for them because they'll think that they don't ever have to do any work. I don't think that is necessarily true. I think if you're just starting out and your child has no idea what narration is and stuff, don't worry if you're just going to say, well, what, I really liked it because when so-and-so did this, it made me feel like, wow, that was a lot of courage. Just so something small like that where you give your thoughts to them,
Right.
As you're starting out. But obviously, if you've, like my son, he's 9. He's been doing this for 3 years. When I read to him now, and he is like, I know it's a book that he can understand and that he can tell back to me, and he doesn't, then I do give him the look. I'm like, I'm sorry you weren't listening because that was really cool. I guess you'll have to pay better attention next time. And and his eyes will get big, like, oh, okay.
Rayanna, what advice do you have for someone who listens really well and absorbs details, but doesn't actually want to tell them, like the child sitting next to me, who is really good at listening to things and picking up details, but then when you ask for any kind of repeat, I don't want to, and then proceeds a meltdown if you push it. Now, granted, she's only 5, so we're not doing narration this year, but I would like to start putting building blocks in place for gearing up to that next year, because somebody here won't even tell Daddy about her day. much less
So
listen to a single sentence and repeat it back.
there are some really good, she talks about that in this, and there are some really good suggestions in here. I can tell you what has worked for me is saying, then draw a picture. And draw a picture from
Okay.
what we just read, and we can talk about it later. But sometimes, you know, sometimes it's best if you do that, just move on. Don't
Okay.
even dwell on it and just move on. And
Okay.
then you can come back to it at dinner the next day or something like that.
She'll come up with stuff 3 days or 4 days or 5 days later. Sometimes weeks later, she'll be like, "Mommy, do you remember?" Da, 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 da. And I have to look at her and go, "That was 3 weeks ago."
Yeah, I know. That's
something
what
I
makes it
said
so
or something
cool.
we read together, and she comes up with it 3 weeks later. I'm like, "So you did hear me? You just didn't
Yes.
want to say."
And that is the beauty of Charlotte Mason, because we're not pushing them to put all of these little details in their short-term memory so they can, you know, blast it back out on a piece of paper or a test and forget it. We're storing this information in long-term memory. So exactly like what you said, 3 weeks later, a month later, whatever, it comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, they got it. They remember.
Okay, all right, that's all right. Who is the author of that narration book that you
The
did?
No and Tell is Karen Glass.
Karen Glass. I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And my children are being loud.
Can I add something?
Yes, please jump in.
Sorry, I'm driving all over. Sorry, my GPS is yelling at me. I'm in Denver. I live in Denver, so I'm driving all over today with my kids, but wanted to jump in. And I'm a speech language pathologist,
Awesome.
a homeschool graduate, and now my oldest is 5, so we're still not there yet, but really in that habit training. But as an SLP, I wanted to say one thing just from the research, and I teach executive functioning. That's what I work on, and that's what I love about Charlotte Mason is that all the research shows that as we go older, sorry, my GPS will stop screaming in a minute, I promise, is that we are our kids' self-talk. But when they get that internal voice as they grow up, that's us. So I'm with you in that a lot of Charlotte Mason says that we shouldn't model narration and stuff, but as an SLP, I'm very much on that model narration because that's what they reference and that's what they go back to.
Yes. Oh, did you cut out?
Sorry, did I?
Yeah, it cut out for a second. I don't know why this did this.
Well, yeah, one of the things I just love is that about that Charlotte Mason lets us do is be that internal dialogue. So I'm on your side is that I'm a big one of model that narration, especially early for our kids.
And so is Karen Glass. And
yes.
And as you learn more about Charlotte Mason, especially on social media, you'll see there's different opinions. And Jill, can you talk now? I noticed that you were talking, but it was on.
I was commenting to myself and answering a question from the couch next to me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that we did this. And I wanted to talk about groups. So Jill is local to me. Ashley, I think you're local to me too, because I recognize your name, I think, from our groups. Ashley, are you there?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Are you in Spring Hill?
No, I'm in Iowa.
Oh, okay. So I just know you from the Facebook groups. So back when my son was 6, I got together with 2 other moms, and we met once a month to read through volume 1. Oh yeah, I just got to notice it's going to cut out on us in 10 minutes. But we started reading through volume 1, and it was just 3 of us. And as we talked in our local groups about, we had a great meeting, anybody who wants to join us, feel free to come on in and join us. And now, 3 years later, we have a solid group of 10 to 12 ladies. We've read through volume 1, we've read through volume 6, and we're reading through volume 2 right now. And that is the best. I mean, I'm having fun even just right now, like face to face on the computer with you guys. And it's even better in person. So I encourage you, if you don't have a local group, just start it, even if it's just you and one other mom. And Jill, I better see you at some of
When
our.
are you doing the habit training book? Because that's the one I need help with.
Okay.
That's
we
was that volume 3, I think it is, or 4.
Well, no, volume 1. I mean, there's
No,
a
I did-
lot of
I just finished volume 1 and I've skipped to volume 4, whatever habit training is,
Okay.
based on the recommendation of a friend because, and that's why I'm not good at technology. I dropped my phone. I'm really bad at, there we go. Hi.
Okay.
We need habit training more than we need anything else right now, even above academics.
Mhm.
We need habit training for, that.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
and that's where I'm struggling because I had babies and now I have no memory. So,
Me too.
and I need help with that. So when you guys do that one, I'll message you about it later. I don't want to take up
Awesome.
everything.
Awesome. No, that's good. So I put some of the links on that slideshow. Does everybody have the link to this slide thing that I put together?
I do, yeah. I grabbed it.
Okay. If you don't, let me know and I'll send it to you. Because did I put it on anything? Oh, yeah. So here I made like kind of a reading list and things that you can do with a group if you want to meet together with a group, or even if you just want to read through the volumes by yourself too. I mean, obviously that's really good. And then here's some more resources. My year 1 schedule, I have this up here. No, not this one. This one. Can you guys see it, or did it go over?
Yeah, we can see it.
Can you see my year 1 schedule?
No, it's on the more resources page right now.
All right, let me do this. Can you see it now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so this is what worked with us when my son was year 1, when it was just 1 kid. So I've got 2 kids now. It's going to look different this year. But this over here on the left is our daily schedule. We would have breakfast and Bible with him. We'd do math. We would do one of the readings from the weekly list. We would do our copywork handwriting. We'd have some poetry tea time. We would do another reading. And then loop schedule, I would pick one of these over here, like composer art. These are like things that happen just once a week. Not necessarily something you would do every day. The things that you do every day are math and copywork and reading. And so that worked well for us. If it helps you, I hope it will. And I think I better go before it cuts us all off. So thank you for coming and participating. It's so nice to meet you, Kayla. Nice to meet you, Jill. Nice to meet you, Ashley. Nice to meet you, Tara. Drive safe. And we'll hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and stop the meeting.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.